Welcome to T
and E
with a T. I'm your host, Teresa.
I'm your co-host, Edwin.
And today we're talking about Catherine and Austin drama.
Oh,
yeah.
What?
I don't know if you watched Catherine and Austin, basically the Ace
family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watched a couple of videos, little reels here and there, but not really.
So you've never watched our YouTube channel?
Mm-mm. I watched the craziest things on YouTube.
Like what?
Or freaking philosophy, biblical, science, technological advancements in science.
So you don't watch any like family YouTubers?
Unless it has to do with psychology. The psychological development of family.
Well, I used to like watching them. I basically kind of, I guess, quote unquote, grew up watching them.
Yeah.
Because I would wait every single week for the video to come out. So I was one of their fans. I was really big on them. But yeah, so I started watching them from the very beginning, from like when they first started YouTube to when they ended YouTube. So Catherine and Austin, they were in college. So they were really young. They met in California. Catherine came from Canada. So Catherine is Canadian. But her parents, her mom, I believe, she's Hispanic, and I think her dad is too. But she is from Canada. So she was born in Canada.
You don't get a lot of those people like that, huh?
What?
People that are Hispanic, they're both Hispanic, but they're in Canada. I don't hear that too much.
I'm not very sure. I think it's anywhere. But yeah, so that's the situation with Catherine. That's where she's from. And Austin, I believe he was born in California, and he grew up there. And he was in college, so he played a lot of basketball. So he loved, all of sports, stuff like that. So he was very athletic. And he wanted to go to college for basketball. So he went to college. He never graduated. He just went to, do basketball.
Okay.
He ended up getting out. And that's the time, during that time in college, he met Catherine at a party. They both decided or thought, this is love at first sight. Wow. Like, they were like, wow, this is like my person. They both felt like we've known each other for a very long time.
You knew right away?
I knew.
At dinner?
Not even at the dinner. I knew as soon as I met her.
Where did you guys meet?
We met at a...
It was a handshake, and that was pretty much it.
And that's how I knew, though.
Hey, she wants to make...
And they fell in love. And it was supposedly, from the stories that they tell, is that Austin or Catherine, it was hard to get Catherine. Catherine was not an easy person to catch. She's very beautiful. She's really pretty. She's a model. She dated Michael B. Jordan before Austin. So she was known as like the person that dated Michael B. Jordan, because Michael B. Jordan, everybody had a crush on him, including me. So Catherine was known for that, and Catherine was a model and all this stuff, right? So Catherine had a lot of dreams, and so did Austin. So they met, and they got together, and a few months later, after getting together, they fell pregnant. So Catherine ended up pregnant.
A few months after?
A few months.
Wow.
Literally a few months.
Get to work.
It was not. It was not on purpose. It was on accident.
Yeah.
So she ended up pregnant, and he ended up getting out of college.
Oh, that's why he got out of college.
Yeah. So now they had to start their life. So they decided to do YouTube. So their first YouTube video was a Q&A video. So it was a question and answer video. Okay. It was the first one. Catherine, I believe she was like 25, 26, and Austin was like 24, something like that. He's younger than Catherine. I know that. By a couple, that's crazy. I think by a couple of years.
How much do you think?
By a couple of years.
Like 3 or 4?
I said a couple. Couple is 2.
Oh, 2. A couple isn't 2.
Yes, it is.
Chat.
What's a couple?
Chat, is a couple
Baby,
2
we're
only?
a couple.
Yes, but like...
A couple is 2.
A couple of years? It doesn't sound like 2.
It's 2.
Anyways.
A few years is 3 or more.
Really?
Yes.
A couple of years? I didn't know
couple.
that.
It's
If that's true,
It's true.
yeah, I just learned something new.
So they started the YouTube. They did the YouTube video of Q&A, and that's when Catherine had already had Elle. So Elle, it was their firstborn. Catherine in the video, she was holding Elle in her arms, and then Austin. They both look really young. They were very young. I mean, they're kind of our age. They were our age in that video.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's how they started the video. They blew up. They got really big. I believe it was because Catherine was already kind of known.
Already famous.
With Michael B. Jordan, she was already with him, and so she was recognizable. And Austin, he just had a very punctual personality, and then also he did college basketball, so he was pretty known too. He was very popular in school, so he was just easy going with everybody, so kind of everyone knew him. So so they had their firstborn, and so that's what happened with them. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about them, and I guess I can kind of backtrack before I even get into their whole story, is that we already heard the drama that's going on nowadays. It's literally everywhere on TikTok. It's everywhere on Instagram. It's all over the place. Yeah, on YouTube. Yeah, everywhere. Especially Snapchat. But yes, so it's been pretty big right now with the drama. And they ended up separating. Spoiler alert, but they ended up separating. And this whole drama with Catherine and her book that she wrote. And the reason why they ended up separating, the whole cheating scandal that Austin, cheated on her during their relationship, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I can continue with that, but I just wanted to state that's the reason why I wanted to tell their backstory and who they are and how they met, right? So they had their first daughter, Elle. Their second daughter was Alea. I love that name. She's really cute. I think she's adorable. She's the most adorable baby well, not in the world, but she's adorable. So the second one was Alea. Now, Catherine announced on her YouTube video or on their YouTube channel that she was pregnant with Alea.
Yeah.
She basically announced it to Austin. So we found out a little bit later, but she recorded the moment that Austin found out, right? She was in her bathroom and she had the pregnancy test because they've been wanting to have another baby. And I think it was 2 years after Elle. So Elle was already 2 years old when they found out. But she was in her bathroom. Catherine was in the bathroom and she found out on her own. She took a pregnancy test, and when it said positive, she started crying. She's like, okay, we got to tell Austin. She called Elle. She showed Elle the pregnancy test. She's like, oh, look, Elle, I'm having a baby. Obviously, Elle did not understand because she's
a year and a half, right?
Yeah. So obviously she didn't understand because she's a year and a half. So, but it was still an exciting moment for Catherine.
Oh my God, thank you. Oh my God, I'm freaking pregnant. Open the door so she can hear me. Lively! Hi, mommy's girl! I have something to show you. Is this your book? Oh, look, baby. Mommy's gonna have another baby. Here, another baby. Give me a hug.
So she ended up telling Austin. She put it in a box, and she gives it to him as a present, and he opens it, and he finds out that they're pregnant. So supposedly during this time, this is when when Catherine started finding out that Austin was cheating during her pregnancy with Alea. So she was just going back and forth in her head, trying to figure out if it was true and all this stuff. That's what she states in the book. But I'm going to give more information in the book and what it says and how she thought that, he was cheating on her. But I just wanted to add that in there during that pregnancy with Alea. This is when it started, coming to her that he was cheating.
Wow.
So that was in 2018. So she had Elle, or they had Elle in 2016. 2018, Alea was born. And after that, you know, they continued with their YouTube channel. The YouTube channel was literally
Booming.
amazing. Yeah. So they would have like, I think by the end, when they finished, they had around 18 million subscribers. So they were really big. They're very known. So yeah. So after Alea, Steele was born. So Steele was their only son and their last kid. And Steele was born in 2020. So Steele was a surprise to everybody. She posted it on Instagram, and it was a picture of her belly, and Elle's hand on her belly, and Alea's hand on her belly, and then Austin's hand on her belly. So yeah,
She
all
posted
three
a
of them. She
picture.
posted a picture on Instagram, and that's how she stated to the world that she was pregnant with Steele. I'm assuming during that time, I didn't read it, but this is my assumption. I don't know if it's true. So I'm saying that during that time, the reason why she hid it was because a lot of things were coming out about the cheating scandal because of how she states it in her book. So like I said, Steele was born in 2020. So the reason why, and their names were kind of something that Catherine really wanted, she felt like she was very connected to the sea. Catherine felt like she's very spiritual.
Catherine felt like that?
Catherine is the wife. So Catherine is very spiritual. She feels like she's very connected to the sea. There's a point, and this is very important, just because I am going to bring this up later, but there was a point where she thought that she was like, in her past life, she was a mermaid. It's something that she feels in her heart because of how connected she feels to the sea.
You know, fun fact.
And all this stuff, right?
I used to think that when I was a kid.
You used to think you were a mermaid in your past life?
Merman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Merman?
I was a merman in my past life because when I was a kid, I loved swimming. I loved it so much.
Really?
I don't know if it was because my uncle would always take me swimming, but I would also drink a lot of water in school. Like, the kids would be like one sip, you know, on the water fountain. I would be there like freaking 2 minutes chugging water. And I
You
would
just
chug
dehydrated.
water. I guess I was dehydrated. My kidneys weren't working. But man, I love the water, and I love the movie. What is that guy that has a son that Poseidon, I think?
I know.
Or yeah, the son of the god of water or the sea. It's Poseidon, his son. Percy Jackson, I think it's called.
I don't know. I've never seen
I used to think I was Percy Jackson.
Really?
Because funny enough, my father passed away when I was young, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's the story how it tells. So I wanted to be a mermaid.
Ah.
I wanted to be a mermaid.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's so
fun
cute.
fact.
That's cute. Yeah, so Catherine thought that she was a mermaid in her past life because of how much she felt connected to the sea.
Yeah.
So she decided to name her kids, basically have the initials of the sea. So Steele, S, L, E, and Alea, A, right? So that's how she named her kids. So their initials spell sea. During their time on YouTube, they ended up creating 3 events. Catherine was the person that, came up with the idea. She states in her book. But basically, the reason why they wanted to do the event was because they wanted to give back to, people, the community. So what they did is that they had an organization where all the money that they made from this organization, they gave it to
Charity.
So a few charities, a few things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one that they did was a basketball event. So what they did is that they invited a bunch of YouTubers onto this basketball event. And they had them all compete together. So they had teams and stuff like that. So it was pretty big. It sold out the whole stadium. So this was in California. It was not the biggest stadium. I don't remember which one it was, but it wasn't Staples, because the Staples Stadium is the biggest one over there in California. It wasn't the Staples, but it was a really big stadium, and I believe it fit around 20,000 people. I mean, don't quote me on the the exact amount, but they filled up the whole thing, and yeah, so they were really excited. during that time in Catherine's book, she stated that this was also the time where she started figuring out, started finding out the whole cheating, right? And she was dealing with it. During this time, a lot of people noticed her change of character on the YouTube videos. She seemed more, this is what fans say, she seemed more down. She seemed like she wasn't smiling all the time, because she's a very, she smiles all the time. She's a very happy person.
That's so sad.
And she didn't seem like that in the videos as much as before, when she had an L. So that's what people were noticing. So people were thinking, during that time, Catherine is not happy. Austin, a lot of people were hating on Austin because of his character. He seemed very F it kind of character. He didn't care about what other people thought, which is good. But I guess people were thinking that he was just very rude. And the way that he did it, he was just kind of rude. And so a lot of people were hating on Austin, and a lot of people on social media, people that were already big on social media, they were even coming out and stating that Austin was cheating. They were like, oh, we saw Austin with another girl, all this stuff, right?
Goodness.
So a lot of people were saying that. So it was just all this drama, and Catherine never came out to say anything. Catherine always defended Austin, even during the time that all this was happening. Catherine was she made a video stating that stating that Austin was her soulmate.
My soulmate, I know for a fact that it's Austin, and I also believe that my life partner is also Austin.
So it was a lot of things we didn't know if it was true. We didn't know if it was if she was just maybe defending him because that was her husband. I don't know. But at that time, it was a little bit
What do you think
confusing.
about that?
What?
About her defending her, even though... Did she know, or she didn't know 100%?
Supposedly, her first... So, she was pregnant with Alea, right? Mm-hmm. Supposedly, during that time, she was just... A lot of people were coming out and stating that. Okay. And she didn't know for sure, but she felt like it could be true. Mm-hmm. But she would, they would have conversations about it, and, it would be denied or whatever the case. But supposedly she didn't know for sure. She didn't have anything to really back it up, but she felt like it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. But during Steele, that's when she kind of found out that it was true.
Oh, wow.
So she had...
And she was still defending him at that point?
Yeah, she was. She would always post videos I hate, people coming out. Well, I don't know if that was before she found out for sure or after. But I know that she would make videos, and I watched them. She would make videos on Snapchat, on YouTube. She made a video stating that Austin was her soulmate, that she felt like, they met before in a past life, and that they're supposed to be together and all this stuff, and that, they were meant to be. Mm-hmm. And on Snapchat, she was like, I hate that a lot of people are coming out, stating all these things about my family, and none of it is true, right? So she was saying all of that. So going back to the events, they had the first event, right? And right there, she was already kind of speculating some stuff. Yeah. So nothing really was for sure yet. Mm-hmm. The second event was another basketball event. Mm-hmm. They also did the whole YouTube. They brought YouTubers and stuff like that. This one was also sold out, and this one was in the Staples. What's it called?
Staples Arena.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that one was also sold out, and that one was really big. So during that one, Catherine stated in her book, this is when she knew for sure he was cheating. Austin was cheating. Because first she had seen a few messages. I believe that's what she said. Don't quote me on that. But supposedly she had seen a few messages. And also, one of his family members told her that the girl was invited by Austin to go to this event, and she was going to be there. Supposedly, Catherine sees the girl. She's not that far away from them, from the stage or the little, yeah, I guess you can call it stage. But supposedly she's not that far, and she's standing there and she's watching. So she states this in her book that she sees her not so far away, and that's when her whole world was falling apart. Like she felt at first she didn't know, so she was told after the event. Because she saw this girl there, and she was like, who invited her?
Who was the girl?
It was just this random girl. Supposedly she was like a model.
Do you have a photo of her?
Nobody knows. Nobody knows who it was. People are speculating that this is one girl. So there's this picture that is going around, or video that's going around of that day of that event, right? So they're all wearing red. She explains in her book they're wearing red, and this is the second event, and there's this girl that's in the corner. She's right there at the edge. She's on the basketball court.
Yeah.
She's right there in the front, and she's standing there with another guy. Now the guy I know who he is. He's very known. He was on TikTok, and he was with her at that time. Well, not with her, but like they were standing there together.
Like the date.
They were standing there together. Not that they were dating or anything like that. They were just standing there together.
Okay.
As far as I know, right?
Yeah.
So they were standing there together, and supposedly people were saying that was the girl because she was right there, and she was just watching, and she just seemed out of place. Like, why would you be there?
Yeah.
So that's what people are saying, right? People are saying that was her. And then they stated that there was this other girl that had came out a while ago. That girl came out on TikTok stating, and this was for sure, she ended up sleeping with Austin. And it was during their marriage, Catherine and Austin's marriage. Because she states that Austin supposedly had texted her on Instagram and was like, hey, I want to do a brand deal. Would you want to be involved on this brand deal? Basically, I guess she was going to be the model of the brand deal or whatever. I don't know. So she was like, yeah, for sure.
This is who Austin was cheating on Catherine with.
Publicity, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like believing it. I'm just being naive, like as can be. Just believing everything he's feeding me. And here's where I'm a little ashamed. We did end up doing the thing, okay? Don't judge me, but I did. So, long story short, he's like, now I'm gonna be obsessed, blah, blah, blah. And he actually ended up paying me like $800 for one of the brands that he said he was gonna like hook me up with, like ahead of time, which was really weird to me. So after the fact, I just kept hearing stories from other people that this is like what he does with girls and like all these other things. And I was just like disgusted with myself, disgusted with him. So this is him asking me to hang out again, blah, blah, blah. I didn't.
So that's who they think that was that girl. Now, she ended up coming out with the video, and she was like, that's not me, basically. So she was like, that's not me, that's this other girl, and supposedly she was with that guy. Like, they were with together, that guy that was with her. So there was no way that, or at least she thinks that there's no way that that's her. But, I mean, how does she know? So that's the situation. And she debunked the thought, but still people think that was the girl that he cheated with. So that day in the book, Catherine states at the event, right? At the basketball event, the second one. Catherine states that she had asked Austin if she could walk out with him. She's like, do you want me to walk out with you? Because this is their event, right? This is for the Ace family. So, thinking you guys had to walk out together, or we would walk out together, right? So she asked Austin, hey, do you want me to walk out with you? And he looks at her, and he goes, and he turns around, and he's like, if you want to. First of all, that's your guys' event, and that's what you say. So Catherine felt like, okay. She's like, it hurt me that he said that. Like, it's not that he said, oh, yeah, like, come. Like, of course I want you next to me or something like that. Like, this is our event. He just said, if you want to. So he kind of made it about himself. So that's because she was kind of feeling like, okay, well, let me just let him, have his his moment. Maybe he wants to have his moment. So let me just let him have his moment. I'll let him walk by himself. So he walks by himself and he comes out by himself, and then Catherine comes out. And so that whole entire time, she was obviously really excited. So they come out, they play their song, their very known song, at the very beginning that when they are on their videos on YouTube, they would play this song, and it was like, their song. So everybody.
I found a love. That song?
No, not that one.
Oh.
No, but it was another song. I'll show you it.
It's possible if you want it bad enough.
What? I can't hear y'all.
Ain't too high, test your limits. You can feel unstoppable, incredible, almost there. I can see I'm so ready.
But they play this song, and obviously this is their moment. They're looking at the fans and everything. But supposedly in Catherine's book, and you can kind of see it in the video of the event, he doesn't really look at Catherine. This is their moment. This is their song. And he doesn't look at Catherine at all. He just looks at the fans. He's waving at the fans. He's holding Catherine's hand, but then at times he'll let go, and he never looks at her. Never shares this moment with her. Never doesn't that. This is basically what they want. The fans kind of love them for who they are and their relationship, right? It was a family YouTube. It wasn't just Austin or it wasn't just Catherine. It was a family YouTube, and everybody fell in love with them too, with them together and their family. And so Catherine was that's basically what Catherine was saying in her book. And Austin obviously wanted to get that. He kind of knew how to get people's attention, and he kind of knew what to do to get the views. So if he at that moment realized what they wanted, the fans wanted them to, and he was just making it all about him, right? But then she was also thinking, what if it was because of the whole cheating situation and the girl was there? So she stays up this whole entire time. Sometimes he wouldn't even look at her. He would just be looking around like if he was looking for somebody.
As if he was trying to still keep that idea of they're fighting, they're not in good terms, so the girl could still...
I guess so.
I guess, right?
I guess. And see, the thing is that story, that girl that I was telling you about, the girl that came out with the TikTok video, that wasn't that day. That wasn't that girl that was there. This was a random day. So I don't know.
But I'm sure it's the same story.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that he told this girl the same story or what, but maybe he did. So maybe that's the way that he was trying to interpret it and make it seem like. And Catherine didn't know about it, obviously. So it looked like at times that he was trying to look for somebody. He looked like he was just never really looking at Catherine as much. And you could tell. And I guess at that time, fans wouldn't even tell. But now that we know, you look back and you're like, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure there was something going on, because he doesn't really look at Catherine too much. So that's the situation. And then later on, she finds out after the event that girl was there. Dang. So there was just a lot of things during that event, and she was just not happy, and she felt like, this is just not good, right? Third event comes around, and this third event that they threw, the Ace family threw, it was a boxing event. Catherine did not want Austin to do this boxing event. Yeah, so it was just this whole thing that Catherine did not agree with. Catherine did not like the idea, and so they were fighting a lot during that time. Yeah. Austin and Catherine were fighting a lot during that time. And the speculation, or she already knew that he was cheating on her, and this was confirmed for sure to her that he was cheating on her. So this event was not very easy for the both of them. So after this event, this is when they started basically having this conversation between them two about splitting. So they ended up splitting not too long after this event, and they came out with a statement. a lot of fans were heartbroken. I was even heartbroken because I was like, is love even real? Because why would they break up? Because I was so in love with them. I really liked their relationship. I loved the family channel. And I was looking forward to every video every week, right? So obviously everybody was devastated. So people started thinking, okay, Catherine found out that he cheated. Yeah. Like, it's for sure now. And obviously people were just hating on Austin, and Austin was like kind of adding to it because he made this character on Snapchat. He got so many views. It was crazy. But anyways, I'll continue with that in a bit. But Catherine and Austin ended up taking their career from YouTube to Snapchat. So they ended up just posting on Snapchat and their videos and whatever on there, right? And people get paid on Snapchat, and I'll tell you how much.
Wow.
They get paid. But anyway, so they ended up moving their career on Snapchat, and that was their thing. So Austin ended up acting weird to fans. And this is when I say that he was adding on to, you know, them hating or their hate, right? So Austin was quote unquote crashing out. Austin was acting sad. He was living in a trailer in Catherine's driveway, quote unquote, looking ugly and just crusty and just like he didn't shower. And he just did not look like his best. So he went on that moment, or what's it called? That character that he was putting on, because it was a character, he was adding on to whatever the fans, the haters, were saying about him. Mm-hmm. And he used this for marketing. So he was smart with it. For 6 months straight, he ended up with this character, right? So he stated this on this podcast. So after the whole breakup, he started a podcast with his brother. So this podcast he did in his backyard, and he stated that he was in his backyard. Now this backyard is so nice. He has a whole pool. It's
Austin's
huge.
house or his brother's house?
Austin. So Austin's backyard was super nice, and they were recording in there. They had like their bean bags, lighting, like it was literally a whole setup, and it was really nice. So he was doing this, and he explained in that podcast that whole time, those 6 months, that people were thinking that he was crashing out and acting all weird. Basically, like he was very depressed about the whole breakup because Catherine was living her life. Catherine felt like she was coming out and she was like, this is my best moment. Like, I think I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life.
Wow.
And Austin was over here crashing out, quote unquote, right? And so people were like, oh my God, Austin is down bad and all this stuff, right? So he came out on with his podcast, and he explained that character that he was doing for 6 months. So he one day was really sick, and he posted on his Snapchat, like, guys, I'm really sick, all this stuff, obviously for content. It's just, you know, he has to make money. Mm-hmm. And people ran with it. They're like, oh, Austin is crashing out. Austin is depressed, all this stuff. So Austin saw that, and he was like, oh, I'm going to use this. So he used that. For 6 months straight, he posted multiple videos on Snapchat every single day for 6 months straight. So he was doing this character, right? So he got a whole trailer. This trailer was not in Catherine's driveway. This trailer was in his driveway, in his new home. Mm-hmm. So that whole entire time that he was in that, people were thinking that he was homeless and that Catherine kicked him out, and he was living in a trailer. He had this whole mansion. He was living in a mansion. Like, he was making money. Yeah. So he added to this character, and he kept going. And let me tell you how much this man made during those 6 months. So Snapchat pays their influencers. Mm-hmm. Snapchat pays by their views. So say you get like, let's say you get like 20 million views or whatever, because that's not rare. 20 million for influencers is not rare. This is accumulated. This is not just one clip, but it's accumulated through the day. Mm-hmm. All the clips that you post. If you get 20 million, around 20 million to 30 million, you can get about, I think it was $30,000 to $50,000 a day.
Wow, that's
if you get 20 to 30 million views, right? Something around there. Don't quote me on that, but that's what they were stating in the podcast. I didn't write that part down, but Austin's brother was stating that. Landon was stating that because he also does Snapchat. So that's how much he makes, right? So Austin, during that time, he was getting 250 to 300 million views a day. That was more than, what usually people get was like 20 million, right? So he was getting 250 to 300 million views a day. Mm-hmm. Now, that accumulated up to 100,000 plus in a day. That's how much money he was making.
Dang, that's crazy.
In one day. $100,000. So I did the math. I was just like adding up for 6 months. How much would he get? Don't quote me on this because I'm not sure. Okay. I thought I hope I did it correctly. Maybe I did 12 instead of 6 months, but I'm not sure because it says 33,600,000 that he got.
So it's,
but it wouldn't like catch me by surprise because
that's a lot of money.
He got a mansion.
That's 100,000 per day. Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Sense, no?
Yeah.
So that's how much money he was making. Not even Landon, his brother, knew, and he was trying to guess it in the podcast, and he was like, "Yeah, that's how much money I was making every day." So that was crazy to me. So I'm like, "What?" I should have been an influencer from this jump because supposedly Snapchat pays more than YouTube. So that's why they ended up, continuing with Snapchat instead of YouTube. So he explained in the podcast the breakup. Now, the breakup, he explained it as if like they were just, Catherine and Austin, they kind of came to an agreement that they're better off as friends, that they can... That they never fought. They're just better off as friends. Now, a few months later after that, the podcast or after that moment, Catherine announces her new boyfriend. Oh. Now, her boyfriend, his name is Igor. He is from Brazil. Now, it is speculated that she, at that time that she announces, the boyfriend, it's speculated that she met him during her relationship with Austin still.
What's the evidence?
I'll tell you. So Catherine ended up going to this retreat. So this retreat was in Brazil. And this retreat was like a spiritual retreat. So she went there with her brother. Catherine went there with her brother. And they went to this retreat to basically restart. Just like a refresher. It was like this spiritual retreat. They went for, I think, a week. I'm not 100% sure. But they went there. They went to Brazil. Now, people were speculating, like I said, that she met him, or Igor, her boyfriend now, there because there's pictures of her in the retreat that they found and Igor in the retreat. They're not in the same picture, but they're in the same retreat.
That's fine though, right? If you just meet somebody, you're like, wow, that's a really nice person, but I respect my marriage.
Well, people were saying that Catherine at that time, she was fed up with the situation with Austin, that she ended up just telling Austin that, because supposedly when she came out, they had already been together for a year. And Catherine was just announced her pregnancy, just announced her divorce a year ago. So when she announced it, her and her boyfriend that were together. You know what I'm saying? So when she announced this, she had a boyfriend. She announced that they had already been together for a year. This was in 2024. Austin and Catherine broke up, or they ended up with a divorce in 2023. Catherine met Igor in 2023. So how are you going to start dating like in a short amount of time? Like she had already like been talking to him while they were still together. Like it just adds up.
You think so?
Honestly, yes. Because it adds up. It adds up to the timeline. They had to been talking at that time because if they were together already for a year, at that time they had already been talking. They had to be talking before. Like she did not just break up and been like, okay, let's get together. Without getting to know him. She was getting to know him the whole, like, at the end of their relationship. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming she was probably already clocked out. And so I'm assuming she probably felt or met this guy and she was like, he seems like a really good guy and kind of pursued him. So I'm not 100% sure. That's a legend. That's just my opinion. People have been speculating that, but just the timelines kind of fit, right? So Austin at that time when Catherine announces that she's with Igor, Austin is still single. Austin like comes out going to like a card reader or a palm reader trying to see if he's gonna find somebody or whatever. Like he goes and seeks that. And he posted it. I don't know if it was real or he was just playing around with this character again. I'm not sure. But at that time, he wasn't doing what he was doing in the beginning. Like in the whole character, he was acting like himself. So I don't know. I don't know if he was just playing around, but he was coming out with that. So it just seemed like he was just really upset or obsessed. I don't know. But he comes out on Snapchat as well because people were like, oh my God, like basically commenting about the situation. And Austin comes out on Snapchat and he's like, oh, I knew about this all along. Like, I already knew about the relationship. I've been knowing about the relationship. So he's like, so there's nothing for me to say. Like, I know what was going on. I just didn't, he's like, I didn't know that when she was going to state it, she never told me, but I already knew that she was dating Igor. Things seemed fine between Austin and Catherine and Igor. Like Igor was getting along with Austin and the kids and all the stuff, right? They loved Igor.
Everything was settled down. Yeah,
everything was good. So Catherine did state at this time that she was writing a book and that she was going to come out with the book. Mm-hmm. So Catherine was like, the book is not going to come out anytime soon, but it will come out soon.
Did she say what it was going to be about?
Huh?
Did she say what it was going to be about?
Yeah, she said it was going to be about her story. So now Catherine announces that her book is coming out in 2025. Mm-hmm. So this year, in the beginning of this year, she's like, my book is going to be coming out soon, so you guys look out for that. It's going to be called Dolores. It's really pretty. The cover is really pretty. Dolores is her first name. Catherine is her middle name.
Oh, okay. Dolores, Catherine.
McBroom, but pious now.
Pious. Mm-hmm. She's married to Igor?
No. That's her last name. Oh. Her last name was McBroom because she was married to Austin, but
now it's Pious again.
It's just Pious. So yeah. So she announces the book and that it's coming out. By April or May-ish, I'm not 100% sure, but Austin announced that he has a girlfriend. This girlfriend, to me, she looks like Catherine. Just a bit younger.
He has a type.
Yes. So she kind of looks like Catherine to me, but she's also Hispanic, and she's 25. She just turned 25 recently. So Austin is like 30-something, 31 maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so she's really young, but she seems like a really nice girl. So supposedly the kids already have met her. They've already been dating for a while. And, Catherine has met her and everybody has met her and everybody loves her. And she seems really nice and they seem like they get along really well. Yeah. To me, she seems very, I don't know, the way she acts, she seems a little bit like jealous. Like she's very protective. Like she's just the way against Austin. Against who?
Allie.
Who's Allie?
What's her name? Austin and Allie, no?
Austin and Catherine?
Oh, that's what it's called, Ace?
No, it's called Ace because Austin, Catherine, and Elle. Allie? You come up with the most random names. Are you here or are you over there? Like, where are you? Okay. So Austin announces,
Don't keep this in there. Tere? Don't keep it in there.
Okay. After this, Catherine releases her book. Well, a preview.
Yeah.
On Mother's Day. Mm-hmm. So on Mother's Day.
Which was last Sunday, huh?
Yes. So on Mother's Day, I don't think it was her. I think it was on accident because it was Amazon that released it. So when you pre-order something, sometimes it gives you like a glimpse, like a preview of the book that you pre-order. So supposedly this preview was not there before. On Mother's Day, it came out for a few minutes. People were screenshotting that thing so fast, and they read it. in this preview.
Did they take it down? Why did they screenshot?
They took it out. They took it out. Yeah. So it was just for a few minutes that they had.
They
it
were
out.
like freaking Amazon.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but the preview came out, right? So this preview came out, and this is the things that I was telling you about, you know, in the book with the situation of the Staples Center or Arena, like, you know, the events that they did, and her finding out that he cheated on her. So people were coming after Austin. People were like, you didn't even state it. You are a liar. You're a cheater. Why would you cheat on Catherine? Catherine's the most beautiful girl. Like, what? You had everything. You had the family. You had the wife. Like, why would you cheat on her?
They had the money. They had everything.
Yes.
Except God. Because he was over here playing with cards and voodoo and stuff like that.
So he comes out on Snapchat, right? And he says his relationship with Catherine was good. Like, that he saw this preview, he didn't know about it. He didn't know what was going to be in the book. He didn't know what was going to be said and that if he was going to be brought up. So he didn't know that. He was just very excited that Catherine was going to release something of her own. And he was very supportive. The day before the preview came out, he came to Catherine's house. He states this on Snapchat, Austin. He came to Catherine's house, bought pizza for the kids. They hung out together with, it was Austin, Igor, and Catherine. They hung out together with the kids and everything was fine. Catherine did not mention anything.
And then
Catherine
Austin's girlfriend too, no?
He didn't say that she was there.
Okay.
He just said it was just Igor and Catherine and the kids. So he didn't, like, nothing was, you know, said about this book at that time. The next day, the preview comes out, and he feels like, dang, like,
betrayed.
Like, kind of betrayed, right? He feels like, you know, Catherine hid this from him for a reason. Maybe it was just to make money. I don't know. But he comes out with receipts. So he says, I knew that this moment was going to come because at that time, when we decided, you know, to break up, to split, I wanted to do a video. So he wanted to do a video with Catherine and Austin, with them together, sitting there and talking about the story and what they're bringing up. But he was going to blame himself. He was going to obviously tell the truth and tell, you know, what's going to happen. And Catherine says no. Catherine, because he comes to Catherine and he tells her that. Austin tells Catherine that he wants to do the video with them two. And Catherine's like, no, I don't think that we should do that. Like, but we could just, you know, release a statement. And Austin's like, well, I want to do one on my own. So Austin goes and records a video on his own. He shows Catherine the video. And Catherine was like, I don't think you should post that because you're going to get a lot of backlash. So he comes out with a recording because he records her that day and he shows us the date, and it's legit. He shows the date. It was like in January 2023 or something like that. And he states that in this recording, she states, I think you're going to get a lot of backlash. I don't think that that's smart. So the reason why he supposedly recorded her saying this is because he knew that one day, I guess because of many relationships in the past or many people in the past on YouTube or whatever, you know, this always happens. Somebody always comes out and kind of, you know, what is the word? They kind of what is the word? Where they come out and they kind of state everything.
Expose.
Yeah. So so somebody in the relationship exposes the other person. So he was thinking, you know, the only person that would be, basically the only person that he would be, or the only person that would be exposed here would be him because Catherine didn't do anything. So he comes out and he shows those receipts on Snapchat and everything. And he says that their relationship was really good in the beginning, that they were very good friends. He would call her up and all this stuff, and everything would be fine, and they were good parents. Well, he kind of switches up his story because first he's like, oh, we were really good. And then he's like, oh, I'm very afraid for the kids because I feel like the kids are in danger under her. And I don't know whether to take the kids from her or just be there more often. So he went from the relationship was really good to, the kids are in danger.
Wow.
So this is why he says that. So he states that, so I don't know if I'm able to say this, but I'm going to say it either way.
Allegedly.
So, no, the word. So he comes out and he states that Catherine is doing ayahuasca. So ayahuasca, from what I've researched or from what we've been told, and I'll explain. But ayahuasca is basically a tea that you take, but supposedly it's a drug. Like it's kind of
hallucinogen?
It's kind of it kind of is like that. Like it makes you think things. So he comes out and states that she's been doing this since their relationship. So during you're on this tea or whatever. During this moment, you feel like whatever at that moment that you're thinking, like say you're thinking like, oh, I can fly. You'll think that you can fly, or you'll think that you hear things and that you're a psychic or, things like that, right? So he brings up the situation with the mermaid. He says that she was on that and that she was turning him into a merman because she truly believed that she was a mermaid in her past.
Austin was my husband. He was a merman.
The next moment, she turned me into a mermaid.
I'm living a past life or past life. Present life.
She turned me into a mermaid.
He said that was because of that. He's like, I felt like, I was doing that because I just wanted to make her happy and all this stuff. And I was like, wow. And everybody was making fun of him because they were like, why would you say that in the most serious conversation? Why would you bring up the whole merman thing? Now people are going to be like, taking pictures and stuff of him being a merman.
A merman. Especially with AI.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, whatever. I don't know. It seems to me
there's photos out there now. Huh?
Yes, there is. So to me, it seems like it's all a joke because why would you bring that up? Like in a very situation, you would bring up the merman. I don't know. To me, it was just weird. So he states that, right? He also states that she knew the whole entire time that he was cheating. That in her book that she lied, that she knew that he was cheating. So why would she state like she didn't know? And supposedly, the reason why supposedly she knew, quote unquote, was because he went to her one day, because there was a year where they did not have any sexual relation, so they didn't have any intercourse.
For a whole year?
For a whole year, supposedly, that's what he states. For a whole year, there was a year that they didn't have any intercourse, and he was coming to her, with his needs, and she stated that she didn't want to do it or whatever, and he was like, well, this is what I want, these are my needs, and she's like, well, just don't humiliate me or don't make me look dumb. So that to him meant go do whatever you gotta do, but just don't make me look dumb in front of people. That's supposedly that's what he said, right? I mean, that's what he said, but supposedly that's what happened. So people were like coming out and they were like, how does that make you think that she said, okay, yeah, just go, do whatever you gotta do and just don't say nothing?
I understand it.
They don't sound like that to me.
Do what you need to do.
But she didn't say that. All she said was, just don't make me look dumb. But he didn't say, he did not say that he came to her and asked her if he could do this. He stated that he came to her and he wanted this, that this was his need.
Yeah, because I doubt she's going to tell him to go be with somebody else. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I guess it's misunderstanding.
So, that's a big misunderstood, man, because I'm like, dang, what the heck? That's what you got out of it?
Misuse of words.
So she supposedly knew. Supposedly, that's what he says. And, so yeah, he says that. He says that she's doing the ayahuasca, and supposedly it's illegal. And supposedly she does these little, retreats at her home. And she had, a 12-year-old kid in a picture where he was doing it as well. And all this stuff, right? And it was just, to me, it was just a lot. And it just seemed like it wasn't really real. And that he was just trying to come out because he was really mad. And that she came out and told the truth. I don't know.
Yeah.
Igor responds on Instagram. And Igor is like, everything that you heard on Snapchat was not true. So he said, ayahuasca is not illegal. It's legal. And he said, it has a lot of benefits for you. It's healing. It's anti-inflammatory. Supposedly ayahuasca, it helps you it helps you with emotional experiences, so it intenses your emotions. So you have vivid hallucinations, spiritual insights, feeling of connections to the world and others. Mm-hmm. So you're more emotionally connected to people, and it feels more like, you feel more emotions.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what it does, right? It also helps with learning, memory, attention, and motivation. So it seems really good to me. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem like it's something
what about
bad.
Disclaimer.
Huh?
Disclaimer.
It's important to note that ayahuasca can have intense and dangerous physical and psychological effects, such as nausea, vomiting, increased heart rate, fear, anxiety, paranoia, and confusion. In rare cases, it can trigger psychotic episodes, suicidal ideation, or exacerbate underlying mental health conditions such as bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. So, I mean, I feel like this with every drug, no? Every drug has their disclaimer.
Yeah, it has their disclaimer, but those do sound like similar to what Austin was saying.
What?
The episodes and stuff like that. And
she didn't have episodes.
Or the psychotic stuff.
No. What she had was this spiritual insight. She feels connection to the world and others. It doesn't seem like it's very...
like a drug, a hallucinogenic drug. Like an abusive drug kind of deal. Like heroin or coke or stuff like that. It doesn't seem like that.
It doesn't seem... Yeah, it doesn't seem very crazy. So he does state that. And he says it has a lot of benefits. And he also comes out that the 12-year-old that Austin was talking about in that picture, he was actually 17, and he was accompanied by his mom. So it was not the way Austin was saying it, right? Mm-hmm. So Austin was saying it was just all this bad. And he also came out, he was like, Igor, he came out with this whole like story on his Instagram, on his, in his story. And he's like, your mom and your grandma did it. So why are you so concerned? Like, so he comes out and says that, right? And obviously everybody's like, oh shoot, like Austin.
He said about your mama.
So now they're like, okay, well, either Austin's lying or somebody else is lying. Like, what is going on here? So Catherine kind of responds after Igor, and she's like, on Snapchat. And she says Austin lied because I forgot to mention this, but he also mentioned that Catherine stated the reason why she didn't want to have sex as well is because she felt like she was the reincarnation of the Virgin Mary. That's what he states in his story on Snapchat.
Wait, what?
That's why she didn't want to have intercourse, because she felt like she was the Virgin Mary, the reincarnation of Virgin Mary, and that she didn't want to do those type of things. Right? So, he said it was all because of,
Okay, some people are taking reincarnation out of context.
But we don't know if that's true, because Catherine comes out and states he lied about the Virgin Mary. That she never said that she felt like she was the reincarnation. She said that she felt the Virgin Mary was in her. Okay. So that stating like she was very connected to the Virgin Mary, like she looked up to her, and she even wears her on her necklace. So she has her.
That's crazy. It sounds like so much confusion. And it sounds like either too much.
It sounds like he's on the drug. That's what it sounds like. It didn't sound like she's on it. It sounds like he's doing something. That's what it sounds like.
You know what it really sounds like? Austin's trying to make about like $20 million again.
Yeah.
And Austin was like, hey, like, we're having pizza, but you can have some $20 million. Igor can have some $20 million, and I can have a $20 million.
If I can, no, because she was not happy about him coming out and saying those things, because she says in her Snapchat.
Well, yeah, you gotta run with it.
Well, I don't know.
Hey, imagine every single one of them gets $20 million.
But why would he humiliate her like that?
Spice.
But anyways,
What did he do? He humiliated himself and tried to humiliate her in a sense for sitting in a camper or something like that. Even though he had a mansion, it made her look bad, and it made him look bad.
Yeah.
But for $20 million.
No, it didn't make her look bad.
Debunked.
It didn't make her look bad. It made him look bad.
Yeah, but he was trying to paint her as a bad person by her kicking him out. Supposedly, remember
He didn't
you told me.
state that. People
I know,
were
but
speculating.
yeah. But you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so, to be honest. But either way, Austin does say that, and she says that he lied about it, and that she was just very connected to the Virgin Mary, not that she thought that she was a reincarnation.
Mm-hmm.
And that she prays to her and all this stuff. Like, she just feels like, the Virgin Mary is a very important person to her. And she did feel bothered and hurt by what he said, but she wasn't surprised. She knew that he was going to react this way as to why. She took a very long time to state, the book and to want to release it, because she was trying to kind of, come to realization that, what was going to happen. She knew that what was his reaction. And so she just wanted to kind of, what is the word? Sit with it and
contemplate.
Not contemplate, but like she wanted to basically
make sure
that this is what she wanted to do, because she obviously knew. Yeah. She obviously knew that what was gonna happen. So a lot of things were fabricated, but she still loves him, and she called him like her greatest teacher. He has taught her so many things, and they still talk. They still conversate, they still text, they still do whatever, obviously.
That's a big no.
Well, the only reason why they do that is because they're parents. So they have to be talking. In the Snapchat, she kind of asked people to ask questions, and people were like, why didn't you just leave? Why did you stay in the relationship? And she was like, well, because I was pregnant with 2 kids. So I couldn't leave. So that's something that she does come out with, and yeah, so that's what happened, and that's the end. As far as I know, that's the end of the drama. But it seems like a lot of back and forth, and it seems like he said, she said, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like Austin was just saying that because he was angry at the fact that, Catherine exposed him, but it's like, what do you expect? Because he was like, she's not even talking about herself, she's talking about me. Like, you expect that she's not going to talk about you?
Because
like,
that's her feelings.
That was her big part of her life.
Yeah, those were her feelings, and his actions caused those feelings.
Exactly. And like I said, that was a big part of her life. That was the part where she became, Catherine, known to everybody, this famous person. Like, everybody knows her now. And so the starting of the Ace family was a big part of her life. And that situation was a part of the Ace family. So I don't know if he just thought that she was just going to be talking about where she grew up. Well, obviously, she's going to talk about that.
Maybe talk about that, like sum it up.
But the first chapter is about the cheating. So he's like,
when's the book coming out?
Well, you can buy it now. But I pre-saved it for audio because I don't like reading.
Pre-saved it?
I pre-saved it. Mm-hmm. So when it comes out, it's gonna come out in June. I'm gonna be listening to that book
in June.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the book is out, but just the audio book isn't.
The book is not out. I mean, supposedly you can buy it on Amazon. From what I heard, you can already buy it and you can already have it. Supposedly, there is a 2-part. So this is a 1-part. The one part of the book. The 2-part is gonna come out later on, but the 1 part is the part that everybody's pre-saving. Part 1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. But I do feel bad for Catherine and all this, like, this situation, because it did happen. He did cheat. Yeah. Either way. It was true, and he came out to say that it was true, he did cheat. So that is true, and he did state that So I feel really bad for Catherine and having to go through that during her pregnancies, the 2 pregnancies, because, you know, no mother or no person has to be going through something like that, you know.
Now, let's say like it wasn't for the money and everything. What it seems like is like the preview came out, Austin wasn't ready to listen to it and kind of get exposed to it. You know, it seemed like maybe it was an accident that it came out and maybe Catherine was going to talk about it or whatnot, yada, yada, yada.
That's what I was gonna, well, I don't know if she was ever gonna tell him, but I was thinking, like, I felt like if you are really close to your ex, and obviously he's the father of your kids, so you guys still have to communicate, and you guys are still good friends, I don't know, for me, I would let him know. I'd be like, look, I'm gonna give you a heads up. You're gonna be in the book. I am gonna be talking about the cheating. I just want to tell you.
Be prepared for it.
Yeah, I just want to tell you just for you to be prepared.
But I feel like also you got to talk about it too. Like if it's going to be on it, you got to talk about it. Because you got to be considerate of people's feelings. You know what I mean? You can't be selfish in a way.
Yes and no. I mean, I think I wouldn't even ask for permission if that was me. I wouldn't ask for permission. It is my story. It's something that happened to me. I mean, I kind of... Yeah, it's a story that, you know, happened to me, so I feel like I have the right to be able to tell my story and to tell what happened to me, so that people can
not ask for permission, but like at least
state it. Yeah. At least state it.
But at the same time, then I see what Austin's point of view. I feel like it's a lot of emotions for Austin, and I feel like he's just defending himself. Mm-hmm. He's trying to defend himself. You know, he doesn't want to be painted as this like bad guy, I guess. Nobody does, right?
No.
Nobody wants to be downed upon or shamed upon. He did wrong, but I mean, everybody's forgiven in a way, and she forgave him, and he forgave her. She didn't really need to forgive. She didn't really do anything, right?
No, I guess basically the only thing that people are speculating that she did was that she did meet Igor and possibly cheated on him with Igor. Yeah. But we're not 100% sure. And at the end of the day,
maybe they were checked out.
If that is the case, people are like, I don't even care at this point. Austin was cheating the whole entire time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
maybe they were already checked out and they mutually checked out and then they were already like, okay, like, you know, but, you know, until we make it official 100%.
I don't know. But I think there's a lot of drama, a lot of crazy stuff, but
yeah,
we'll see. It looks like there's still gonna be, you know, obviously, Catherine seems like a person that's like, look, I didn't mean it in bad intention. I just wanted to tell my story, and she seems like she doesn't take it to the heart. Whatever he said, she doesn't take it to the heart, and she's living her happy. I mean, she's living her best life with Igor. Igor he's better good looking than Austin. I'm gonna tell you that. He just seems like a better guy than Austin. But yeah, that's the story of Catherine and Austin and the drama that they have going on TikTok. I hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Let us know what you think about what we talked about, any controversial topics in the comments down below.
And tune in for the next video.
Bye.
Bye.